Hi, this is your boy Terry, and gosh, my hair is terrible. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to be expatiating further on a verse from the curriculum of legitimate illiteracy. If you didn't know what legitimate illiteracy is, I have a trailer on this channel explaining it. Basically, legitimate illiteracy aims to reveal the knowledge that is contained in the no books. By the no books, I refer to the words N-O-B-O-O-K-S. No books. The notion is that the books have been written. All books are attaining a completion, and very soon, especially in these times, it will become time to reveal the information contained in the notebooks. The world is novice to this very knowledge, yet this knowledge contains rare intel necessary for breakthrough in human. And these are some of the things I will be revealing using an entire curriculum called Legitimate Illiteracy. And today I'll be discussing one of the verses from the curriculum of Legitimate Illiteracy. And the verse says, "When you have seen many things become ordinary." I'll just have to look for somewhere to sit so that I can be composed with my thinking. So give me a moment. So this is your boy Terry, and I found somewhere to sit, and please bear with me. I may be disoriented in the way I present my thoughts. There's reasons for this. I'm not a regular person. I'm not with good health. That is what I mean. I've not slept in years, and my entire formation has changed to where I do not have the ability to relax. So this affects every human activity of mine. I'm incapable of enjoying regular human activities. I'm in isolation in the nooks and crannies of my home, taking care of my dad, who is ill as well. So this is very difficult. I'm always on speed. My brain is always on speed. And anyway, but I'll try my best. What I'll do is I'll open the ground in case you want further expatiation on the subject. You will be able to contact me, and I will engage myself towards you. I'm interested in your breakthrough, in your attainment of knowledge that is whole, and that is why this is my purpose. That everyone is capable of surpassing Google, and to surpass Google, you will need as well the knowledge found in the notebooks, knowledge from the down-to-earth spaces of Mama Earth. The world knows of outer space knowledge. There needs to be a revelation of the knowledge from the down-to-earth spaces of Mama Earth, and that is my entire purpose. So, I'm going to be explaining the verse. When it comes to further explaining these things to you, in case you have questions, I'm your boy Terry. So all you need to do is leave a comment or send me an email, even if it has to do with actual application, practical application of this verse in your decision making, in your pursuit of breakthrough, in your seeking of the ever missing piece of your puzzle, whatever it is. I'm your boy Terry. So I'm going to give of myself on your behalf, brainstorm along with you with my spirit and being to make sure solutions are found. What I can offer at the very least is legitimate illiteracy, and rare intel lies in the hands of the legitimate illiterate. Anyway, we'll get into that over the course of time as I continue to reveal more verses from the curriculum of the legitimate illiteracy. You will gain more insight into what I'm getting to. Anyway, I've digressed a bit, but it's all good. Of essence in this is that you sift even of my nonsense to find sense therein. sift even of my not so good to find good therein, or testimonial used for good. So as you listen to me, apply your spirit and your being, connect with me on that level, and you will get my gist. Listen to the underlying context of my proclamations besides just the words. Listen to my undertone. This is going to be essential in your understanding of the verse for today, which is, when you have seen many things become ordinary. You're going to have to apply this very sentence or this very verse even in understanding the things I'm saying today. When you have seen many things become ordinary. So that verse is about two parts. First is about seeing many things, and then the other part is many things become ordinary. So we'll tackle it in two parts. The first part is when you have seen many things. Now, a very pertinent question is, do you see many things? There is the art of looking, but there is also seeing. So it's not about looking, it's more about seeing. And it's not entirely about seeing. It is more about how many things you are capable of seeing. And this is an entire feat, to be able to see many things. Because there are many mountainous odds, barriers to entry against your capability of seeing many things. Now, we're not looking at the negatives. We're establishing, what is established, so that we know. Anyway, let me break it down. Again, I told you I'm going to be disoriented, but just be patient with me. Again, another thing you will need to do in listening to me is exerting your human virtues, exercising it. So in the face of my disorientation, apply your self-sacrifice, your sense of your patience. Let's wait for this tricycle to pass. So, when you have seen many things, the thing is, we cannot explain this in one video. It's an entire topic on its own. Many things revolve around this very simple sentence. Again, many things involving humans involves this very sentence. How many things you can see. There are many things we see today, and we romanticize and elevate it, hype it to even levels of God. But these things in reality are ordinary, where we have seen many things. So I'll be relating, I'll be thinking on the spot, and I'll be bringing out examples. There are a variety of examples. This applies to every aspect of human life, even just a moment. I don't know how to treat this very perfectly. Anyway, let's start by saying that there are going to be mountains of odds, hurdles for you to be capable of seeing many things, because many things are posed in your way, like I mentioned earlier. There are entire nations posed with the sole purpose of hampering or limiting your perception to the true state of the world. So, one thing that you may need to do to be able to see many things is shed some of the nation. And that is a huge feat. For you to be living in a certain nation and having to shed some of the nation. For you to be able to do that, you will need to be capable of seeing nations as merely locations. That aside, another thing you will need is stubborn genes. Genes without reservations. Because for you to be able to see many things, you're going to have to take the harder routes. The harder, yet more testimonial routes. There are many routes untaken, even by the world itself. These routes are labeled as routes of suffering, routes of discomfort. And the world itself markets the terminology pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness, however, carries context because it also means running away from things that have been labeled discomfort, things that have been labeled suffering. Many things in reality are not suffering. They may constitute challenges and an avenue for us to evolve as humans, to invent, to improvise, to exert our human virtues. But by world standards, you have to run away from these things and turn to products, maybe beer, maybe vices, and all that. That's how the world works, where each human is mostly a client, and then there's a monopoly of products, knowledge. Everything is made complex, made outer space like, so that there's an inclination for humans to seek these things in a cycle. And then if a small number of humans, amass all the accolades. Anyway, that's aside. So another thing you will need to be able to see many things is stubborn genes. Another thing you will need is to be able to exert your 5 senses. We have 5 senses. Brains powerful than supercomputers. A sense of hearing, sense of, our tongue can taste even the complexest of tastes. But are we in the box? Are we reserved in our exertion and exploration of these 5 senses? The next time we take that ice cream, and how many things do we see? It's even possible to see a feeling. It's possible to see a sound. It's possible to see a smell. So this is food for thought. I'm not going to, we can't complete this in one video. There are so many examples. So I'm just establishing that there will be mountains of odds for you to be capable of seeing many things. I want this to be food for thought. Inculcate this into your current perception so that it expands a bit. Just a moment. The real essence of this video is for you to incite your mind's eye so that you are able to see more things. The next time you take a walk, the next time you look on the television, you're able to see more things. So that we put things in their normal place, and then we elevate our value as humans. And then when we elevate our value as humans, these other inanimate and superficial things that have accrued so much appeal by world standards begin to seek us. The reverse happens. In today's world, every other thing is giving value more so than humans. Talent. Superman has millions of fans. There are chihuahuas that have inherited millions from the parent chihuahua. CryptoKitties, Pokemon, artificial intelligence. When these things come about, it looks like development, but how many things do you see when you see these things? Do you romanticize them? Now, nothing wrong with romanticizing them. But again, when you have seen many things become ordinary. You may see someone doing charity. He's instantly labeled good. But is it possible that there are other reasons for charity besides the art of good? There are many things to see. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. On the 41st day, one of the temptations was turn stones to bread. And he refrained from doing it, saying, man must live not by bread alone. Now, what do you see when you see that? Now, you may see just the biblical side or the church side, but there are many other facets to this very simple scenario. So much context to it. It tells of the substance of the greatness of a human being in their substance. It tells you that many things are not about good or bad, when it comes even to morals. In today's world, many things are labeled good or bad, so you can quickly run away from the so-called bad. but not many things that are bad, and there's some good that is in the smallest of things. For example, Jesus may be justified even if he turns stones to bread. Why not? He has fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. You can't really pick him out as bad if he agreed to turn stones to bread, because he has fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. But again, there are many things to see in that scenario besides the superficial. Perhaps he saw it as an avenue to exercise his virtues, an avenue to exercise self-sacrificing. Perhaps he thought of generations yet born and their salvation. So there are many things besides just the surface. Esau, he lost the opportunity of fathering an entire nation, the nation of Israel, because of satisfying an impulse, the impulse to fill his belly with a bowl of soup. So substance, greatness lies in the unshakiness, the deeply rootedness of your substance. These are some of the things to see in this very little scenario. When it comes to morals, we recount good or bad. Oh, you ask someone, why do you not smoke? The first answer is, oh, because it's bad. Okay, yes, it's bad for your health and all that. But are there not countless other reasons for not smoking besides good or bad? That's why I said earlier that nations is going to be a deterrent to your capability of seeing many things. You will have to shed some of the nations. Depending on your nation, there may be not, in some nations, the complex tenets of life do not exist. Things like, self-pride, self-respect, community. There are some nations where the curriculums are posed for each one to be individualistic. So you see someone like a 13-year-old smoking, there's no inclination by the set standards, courtesy of the set standards, that will move you to want to, cater to the child's welfare. Even if you can't talk to the child, talk to the parents. But there are certain other nations where these things exist. There are nations where you will think twice talking to the child, because a stranger may call 911, and report you as assaulting of the child. I apologize for all this noise, but I have to do this video. Again, it's not going to be rosy in this video. But that's the very essence of this video, that you can see many things, even in the face of the discomfort. Even in the face of external noises, you can sift of this so-called nonsense to find sense therein, or at least find legitimate illiteracy therein. So there are entire worlds. The world is still very novice. It seeks answers in outer space. When it comes to the welfare of humans, the world is still very novice, because the paths that contain knowledge for humans, nobody dares take that path. Only great people can, and there is a rarity in the great men industry. It's no coincidence that even with all the development and infrastructure and all that, there is a rarity in the great men industry. There were more great men in generations past than now. That's an irony, but that's the case. So how many things can you see? Blockchain technology is a new technology that came about. Now, for the most part, people see it as a means to distribute rewards. Reach people with a digital currency and replace fiat currency, money. But again, when you have seen many things, we're tackling the see many things aspect. But looking at blockchain is a database that holds knowledge that is immutable and indestructible, and it provides incentive for you to reveal this knowledge. It it also hosts humans, random humans from various locations. Isn't this blockchain not powerful, therefore, as a tool to gain insight into the truest state of the world? Where humans gather on a blockchain, incentivized to mine of themselves and pop out knowledge. Even if it's for incentive, but they rendezvous every day with the incentive to pop out knowledge, with the incentive to be reputable. Now you look at just the physical aspect, but there is the unordinariness when it comes to humans. The painted world has relegated these aspects of humans and made it about the superficial. But a human has spirit, and spirit is powerful. A human was made in the image of the Creator. It's no coincidence that the likes of Facebook, Google, all they do is mine humans. They put cookies in your browser and get of your spirit, your innate person, because when you browse, you're in the comfort of your home, unwary of your surroundings. You are yourself. Now they extract this information. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just telling you how powerful humans are, compared to things like money or any other thing. I'm saying that when money is bound to seek you, but again, when you have seen many things. So they mine of these excerpts of humans, various humans, and they process it, and then they give it away to advertisers, and they make revenue. Billions of money begins to seek them, because that's the value of human. We throw this away. It's valueless to us, but they pick it up, even of our so-called nonsense, and they extract it, find sense therein. And all the greatness is right there in your very nonsense, because that's innate to you. That's the constituents of your genes, uninfluenced by... In the world of today, we tend to share generic genes. That's why I said earlier that you will need stubborn genes. When your genes are not stubborn, it becomes influence. You start to have a shared identity with the rest of the world. Your identity put into redundancy until it is re-triggered. And that's the essence of what I'm doing, to incite your mind's eye to see more things, to re-trigger your shine. Our shine is what has entered into relegation and redundancy. We lose this shine and we lose our value in its entirety and begin to seek money, begin to want to climb career ladder, begin to pursue talent. How about on talent? I say on this talent because if you put a bracket UN, then you put a bracket and put DIS, close bracket, talented, you have on this talented. This strikes the on and it becomes talented. The complexes of mathematics, if you just add some English into it, it becomes suddenly uncomplex. Many things are extremely simple. The world complicates it so that each human remains a client in a cycle of hand-to-mouthism and half-humanism. Having tension within each other, amongst one another in pursuit of these complex things. That's why we're so inclined to go into outer space. Any new buzzword that comes around is romanticized. Nothing there. The reality, nothing there. But the world knows how to create buzzwords so that it keeps people in that cycle. You start to hype these buzzwords and it becomes even your identity. And then you have a group surrounding this buzzword in contention with another group that perhaps doesn't like these buzzwords. Things like racism, it's said to exist. I don't see it. In the world of legitimate illiteracy, it simply doesn't exist. Where nations are merely locations. We hype nations and bring up the word patriotism. But what is a nation reality? It's just a landmass filled with humans. What is a nation made of in reality? By today's standards, we measure a nation developed, third world. but that's a measure more of infrastructure than of humans, which is supposed to be the measure of the value of a nation. I'm sorry, I need to look for another location to sit down. Please bear with me. I was sitting in front of a house and the owner of the house came out. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. I'll have to end this video very soon. I'm not in a good location where, you know, there's so much movement of cars and all that, and there are no places to sit down. Right now I'm sitting outside a fence on the floor, you know, and that's the next spot. I saw the last house, someone just came out, the owner of the house, and I don't know if they will fancy seeing someone at the front of their house making a video, you know. So I'm seated on the floor in the front of another house. I would have liked to walk so that you can see the scenery, but because of having to be wary of my surroundings, I may be more disoriented in the presentation of my thoughts. So that's why I'm having to sit down so that I can compose my thoughts better. Anyway, I'll soon be stopping the video. I've created so many scenarios. Let's tackle the other part of the verse. It says the first part is when you have seen many things. Now the other part is many things become ordinary. So many things become ordinary. So that's literally true, or that's more of a literal statement. It carries a lot of context as well, but you're allowed to build your own context. Because I'm going to cut the video short soon, I may not be able to give you scenarios, but of course you can contact me for more explanation on this subject. So many things become ordinary, many things that, you know, are hyped. Now we're not saying hype, there's anything wrong with hype, you know, but as we grow older, hype is more for children, really. You know, as we grow older, the same things that has hyped us should not hype us, you know, so that we can have clear decision making. You know, we can form our identities, and more so than share an identity. You know, it can be surpassing Google for us, you know, than 60 or 70% of your brain being made up of Google. You know, this affects many matters, many. You know, I'm trying to create an entirely new internet. I created a form of content called ulogs that will form the basis for my own internet. A ulog is not a blog or a vlog. It's a form of content that is made entirely of excerpts of you, created fresh at every instance, covering every niche or industry or topic. So basically a form of content made up of you, where you consciously evolve of your human. You know, you do not research from the internet. Instead, you gift of yourself to the internet. Anyway, that aside, I'm just trying to say that many things become ordinary. You know, many things that fascinate us to extremities, where we have a broader perception, you know, will no longer take charge of us. I'm saying these things in the light of taking charge. I'm not saying that being hyped or fascinated by stuff is bad. I'm just saying that you're better positioned where you are in charge. You know, you are to come to this world and influence it with your beauty. You are to walk the expanse of this world, and it halts every time because you walked and your presence filled it. You are made in Jehovah's image. That's matter. A hefty sentence has weight and occupies space. You are made to have in subjection the fishes of the sea, the flying creatures of the heaven. That's a biblical statement, but very applicable in life of today, because the reverse is happening in today's world. You know, what is the so-called money that we seek? You know, that wars are formed around, that entire nations are built on. What is this money? Money is paper and valueless, basically. It derives its value because we have come to accept it as a legal tender. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you look at, again, that's why I say when you have seen many things. When you look at blockchain technology, for example, it reiterates what money is. A digital, basically void. Bitcoin, whatever digital currency you know of, started at zero value. When people start to accept it as relevant, it starts to garner value. So, if you give value to money, why then does money become the sought after? Because it has become hyped, because it fascinates us. What you can accrue with money fascinates us. Look at the past. There was trade by barter. In trade by barter, humans had more value. You can exchange a Ferrari for a bottle of Coke, just courtesy of the value of a human. Let's wait for that motorcycle. Us. Courtesy of the value of a human. Because you have to create a physical connection, sometimes a spiritual connection. And of course, humans, even though in today's painted world we appear very ordinary, humans are not so ordinary. You can meet someone today and you start to find bliss in your life. You attain breakthrough in your life just because of meeting someone. But the world doesn't know of these things. The world knows of what is written in the books. But these complex tenets of life exist in many places in the down-to-earth spaces of the world. But the world creates these standards that people that are even in these places run away from these aspects of their location because it is seen as nonsense. Some places are labeled slums. So when you're taking vlogs, that's why I created vlogs. When you're taking vlogs, you don't want to show these nooks and crannies of the world, the complexest tenets of the world, because they are considered nonsense by world standards. Because you are wary of your social following, you want clout. Clout is a commodity today that is garnering more value than humans. You want clout, then you cannot stand up for what is reality. You have to end up painting stuff yourself so that you have appeal, so that in your pursuit of clout. Anyway, so what was I saying? The world is attaining a cap when it comes to development. Look at technology. Right now it's blockchain technology. After blockchain technology, artificial intelligence. After artificial intelligence, human robots, which is already in an undertaking. After that, they will try human clones. Then what? That is a cap. Look at fiction. I no longer want to watch movies because what's there? What can you do more than aliens coming to the earth, taking over? I'm talking in terms of fiction. What can you create fictionally? We're attaining a cap. That's why it's high time to reveal legit literacy. To evolve the down-to-earth spaces of the earth, because the world is beginning to return down to earth. When they begin to return down to earth, they need someone there. And that's our role if you're listening to this video. That's why if you're taking this studying the verses of legitimate literacy and you need more explanation on it, I'm going to explain it, very well. I'm good with writing. I'm not very good with speaking, but I'm good with conversation. So if it's a question and answer conversation, that gives direction to the conversation. I'm good with that. And I'll connect with you with my spirit, and you will get my gist. This conversation is not very orderly because it's not conversational. I'm trying to make it conversational, talking to you. But I'm here as your boy Terry with my spirit. These things are not written somewhere. I'm breaking of myself to pop out this rare intel. And I tell you, this intel is rare. Because, to gain all this insight, I did a lot of suffering. But suffering was a positive in my case because I was gifted with the human virtues necessary for the translation of suffering into things of good. So I did stages of suffering, and then insight began to arrive, but it also arrived in stages. Until I pass a level, will insight arrive on that, covering that level. As at this stage, I've basically completed all levels, and I have all the knowledge for legitimate literacy. I intend to create an entire school that anyone can school in, regardless of their levels of literacy or social status, just courtesy of their humans, and attain greatness. Greatness is in every human. It's just beaten, pummeled into redundancy, courtesy of a painted world. But the world is not to blame entirely. Like I said, we need stubborn genes. So we also need to check ourselves, because genes indeed are stubborn. For genes to be pummeled to where there are nations today where everyone has the same handwriting, very similar handwriting. They say kill one, let's not say kill, capture two birds with one stone. It's a ginormous irony that the world of today captures myriads, billions of humans with half a stone. It's an irony. But this is the true state of the world and needs to be revealed, for knowledge to be made whole, else our evolution cannot be complete. The outer space knowledge is not made to cater to humans, it's made for bots. Okay, pursue perfection, pursue talent. That will only sustain bots, because humans aren't flawless. We are imperfect. Just look at the world more intently. Use every human activity as a means to peer into the world. When you're on blockchain, when you're on Facebook, when you're on YouTube, look at people's response to stimuli. Love humans, love creation as seen in humans, and you will see many more things. The next time you're walking that street, you watch people playing basketball, look at their response to stimuli, pay keen attention. Like Adam did, naming all the animals. He had to ponder, wonder, do sleepless nights, starvation, to be able to understudy these animals, to give them a very befitting name. Do alike for humans, starting with your own human. We do not evolve. Perhaps due to circumstances. There are some circumstances around that exists are in certain nations of the world that are so tough, that people, again, you need stubborn genes. You end up relegating your shine, because you want to pave way for, you want to attain any sort of breakthrough, but there are also nations where the deterrence to human evolution is the curriculums of the world. Look at children. Children are just intact. From small, they are inquisitive, they have curiosity, they have a sense of justice and all that. But that snaps away once they grow into their teen years or start to enter school. And then the pursuits become different. It becomes about meism. Then what happens? Where did that snap occur? Where you look at the world today and there's so much cruelty, and you wonder, how did humans turn to be that way? These things aren't innate to humans. It's very difficult to be cruel in reality, especially to be cruel consistently in a cycle. And don't you get tired? The so-called things that are so overly hyped in today's world, things like sex. What is sex in reality? That it's where necessary, it's avoidable. What is it? It's very shallow. In reality, it's tiresome. Mention anything that is so overly hyped in today's world and look at it very intently and see that it's very ordinary. There's nothing that doesn't have a cup. Oh, you swallow that ice cream, you want to catch a high. The world of today revolves around the pursuit of a high, and you get to one high, you want another high. But aren't these things tiresome, really? The food is sweet. I try starvation. I say starvation is so delicious. Because eating in itself is tiresome. The next time you're on that dining table, you can shove the food aside, to dedicate time to your evolution. I've been eating rice and hot dog forever. Humans are bound to get tired. Whoever discovered gravity didn't just go every time for that falling mango. There's bound to be one time where your genes kick in and you start to ponder and wonder what made the food fall. When you see poop on the ground, everyone just walks past and say, "Oh, terrible smell." But whoever's gene will kick in and decide to give attention to that poop and wonder what human hosted it, what food constituted it. Most of the knowledge contained in legitimate literacy is innate to you, and that's why I created a platform, ULUGs, basically allowing you to pop this rare intel that we've has been pummeled into redundancy. Let's stare it out and reveal it into the world without shame, so that knowledge in itself is decentralized, available to anyone. Where knowledge is too complex, too fine print, it's going to be limited to the literates or elites. So how about anyone? So this is what I am about. I'll stop this video here. The video is getting too lengthy. Please apply your spirit and being to listening to this. Listen to my context, my undertone, my underlying context. And these things are really very simple, really. Knowledge from legitimate literacy is very simple. It's innate to everyone. We just aren't seeing these things or looking intently to where we begin to see these things. We neglect these things because they are painted as black or bad, by world standards. The world of today is about black or white. How about gray? Black list, white list. How about gray? We need gray. That's where power lies. I'm your boy Terry. I love you so much. I'm your boy Terry. That is a constant. Make sure to stay awesome.